Well, one very, very quick thing is Batman's getting a new logo.
Ooh, I did not know this.
Yeah, it's just they updated the cover for Zarski's first issue, and it's because it's been the same logo since what the start of New 52, pretty much.
Yeah, the bat wings, Batman across it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's like, I mean, the color might change, but at least in the first issue here, this run, it's this red text. It still get a bit of the shape to it, but the logo's just kind of like inside the word now, rather than having like the actual.
I might like it on the full cover, but just as a, if I'm looking at just the two logos next to each other, I think I prefer the current.
Yeah, on the page I just found, it's on the cover, and it looks real good. I like it. Makes the bat out of the negative space. On the M and stuff. I think that looks real cool.
Yeah.
Wonder if that means that the artist using it will have to compensate for that. Like, they're going to make sure there's some negative space behind where we're going to put the logo to make sure, like something blank so that stands out.
Could be.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, so the round robin, which is not a round robin, but the first round ended not long after the last episode of this one out. So we can tell you what went into the second round, but also know what the creative teams are. They announced that with the second round. So, so the first book that went through was Hawkman and Hawkwoman, the Changeling. We now know what lost this fight, Matt.
Ted Grant, 9 Lives.
Okay.
Wildcat.
I didn't remember what was facing him a lot.
Yeah. I mean, either or. I mean, if this wins, if this gets to the next round, I'll be fine. But I really wanted that Wildcat book. So,
what's the team on this one?
This is Kevin Scott and art by Fico Ozio.
I'm familiar with Kevin Scott. Does a lot of Star Wars books.
A lot of Star Wars.
Yeah, and I enjoy all of his Star Wars stuff. He's one of the better Star Wars.
Did you know what this one was about, Connor? Because you're the other.
No, I glanced at the round robin just in general, but I didn't actually read a lot of the synopses.
So sorry,
the titles.
Matt, he doesn't need to know any of them except one, and we'll get to that one that he needs to know.
No, but I just want to tell him this one real quick. It involves Hawkman and Hawkwoman having a kid they never knew about that might be a mythological changeling. I need it. They adopt the baby and whatnot. So, yeah.
But you may as well throw in that his name is Hector Hall.
Yeah. But Hole, H-O-L.
That's clever.
Yeah. Yep.
So in the second round, that's going up against Constantine and the Demon, Vacation from Hell. This is by Frank Allen with art by Nick Varela.
Not familiar with the team, but I'm also wouldn't be mad if that won.
It's the Demon and Constantine forming a bond. So there you go.
Sounds perfect for me.
Then the next book that went through was Suicide Squad Dark. And this is going to be by Zach Thompson and art by Gary Brown. This is the Earth 13 story.
Yeah.
And that's going up against Kid Flash, The Speed of Fear by writer Brandon Easton and art by Travis Mercer. I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure Brandon Easton's the first name on this that I recognize.
Yeah.
So yeah, next up is Green Lantern, The Light at the End of Forever. This is going to be with Cy Spurrier. Oh, I recognize that name. And Marco Santucci. I recognize that name. This is actually the most well-known team out of this whole...
That's a good, solid team.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's okay, because that one shouldn't win. But that's going up against DC Horror Presents Ghost Tour from Hell, which is going to be written by T. Franklin with art by Dominkel Domo Stanton. Okay. Probably butchered that name, but apologies. So that's what they're going up against. And then next up, luckily making it to round 2, the one that should win this entire tournament is Green Lantern, The Birth of Conspiracy, which we now know is by writer Scott Brian Wilson and art by Skylar Partridge. Now, admittedly, never heard of these two people. No idea.
Let's look.
But the premise is too good.
The artist name sounds familiar, but I might have just read that they might have just popped up in like an.
I just say it's hard to get excited about any of these right now. For me, because I was just going to say, I wasn't here last week to talk about them, but on the premises, it's hard to get excited because last year we were all like, yeah, Robbins is a great premise. That should win.
No, we brought this up last week. Yeah, it was disappointing that wasn't that good. But have you heard the premise of this one?
No, but I'm more willing to bank on the Cy Spurrier book at the moment.
Well, let me tell you the premise and see how you feel about this.
Wait, I thought he doesn't need to know the premises.
I said all but this one. That was exactly what I said. All but one.
And Matt already told me one, so I'm good.
It's 1947, and Alan Scott is part of a new breed of human. Wait, this is a bit more in depth. This premise, I think, than last time.
Yeah. And so now these also have the pitches underneath them
They have
too.
the full, yeah, they have the full thing.
Blurbs.
All right, well, I'll read this one. It's 1947, and Alan Scott is part of a new breed of humans endowed with the power of gods, but he still has to work a day job, protect his personal secrets from the public, and hide his civilian identity from the government agency formed to monitor superhero activity. When he finds himself at the sites of 3 UFO incursions, the famous Men in Black and flying saucer sightings in the Roswell crash, realized that he could lose everything. Now, as Green Lantern imprisoned and alone on an alien planet, used as a conduit to harvest the power of the Green Flame, he may have to rely on the low-level government functionaries whose job it is to spy on him, to help him put a stop to alien genocide and hold the government accountable for hostile actions, and trust them to keep his deepest secrets secret. So basically, the gist of this one is that it's doing like Green Lantern 50s UFO conspiracy stuff.
It sounds good, but it doesn't immediately be like that. That's a must win for me.
I'll admit the full description is less of a must win than it was last week, but it was just the broad stroke. That sounds a bit more normal, but
that sounds fine. Like it could be a good book.
I still wanted to win though.
I'm still going to vote for the like a Cy Spurrier book or probably the Cavan Scott book.
It's not against that yet though. See?
Yet, yes. Well, I'm saying when it gets there.
Yeah,
if it gets there.
It's up against Superboy, The Man of Tomorrow, which is by Kenny Porter and art by Janoi Lindsay.
Don't know either of those names either. But hey, I'll take a Superboy. Is it Connor Kent?
Yes.
It is Connor Kent, yes. But I still want the UFO Green Lantern pulp book.
Yeah, so interesting that this is one of the few creative teams that they have work listed behind. So Scott Bryan Wilson worked on Pennyworth and Batman Gotham Knights, and Skylar Patridge worked on Wonder Woman. So that might be where I know the name from. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Now I have to go back and read all these because I didn't realize these had much more in depth.
Yeah, they've fleshed out all the descriptions. I'm not going to go through them all because it'll take us ages to go through them all.
No. But yeah.
And we did, we looked at all the basic premises last week, so, but, I mean, all the creative teams were worth mentioning, even if the vast majority of them are names that we don't recognize, which I guess kind of makes sense that it's a lot of, not all, but most of them, at least from like a mainstream DC perspective, are newer teams, and they're more like, that's why they're on this tournament as opposed to just being given a book, is there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also feel bad for a lot of them, though, because I think there are a lot of people who will see a name, like me included, will go, oh, Cy Spurrier, that's a trusted name, I'll vote for that. Or, or pick your poison, whoever you are. And a lot of these, fresher people will probably not give the chance. Like Tim Seeley won last year's.
I think it's okay to have the known names, but you probably either have to have it all be like names or all not be names that people know. You can't have a mix of the people who don't have the reputations will just get ignored.
And that's not to say these creators have not worked on anything, but I think some of them already have worked on multiple DC projects, so they're well known by the audience you're already targeting.
Exactly, yeah. It's not done anything, but like the point is that we are not recognizing most of them.
Yeah.
So, what were these new books Connor that got announced?
So we've got two, one more interesting than the other. The first is a Young Justice miniseries set in the world of the animated show.
Okay.
It's a 6-issue mini. I'm trying to see who it's by. Written by the showrunner Greg Weisman with art by one of the storyboard artists, Christopher Jones.
Wow.
It's doing the same thing that Robin's does, where it's going up first on DC Universe Infinite, and then coming out in stores about a month later. It's like 6 weeks later, but I think it's just where it happens to fall in the month this time, as opposed to anything particular. As a fan of Young Justice, though, yeah, that's cool. And it's from the showrunner. He's good. Yeah, this is completely in continuity with the show. It'll probably not get referenced much, but it's there.
Oh, I mean, even though I like Young Justice, I'm inherently just less excited about a tie-in book. But, you know.
That is fair. The other one, I think, is a much more interesting book that Matt in particular will be very excited by. This is a 3-issue mini. I'm not sure if it's a prestige or not, but this is, it's called Superman Space Age.
Mm-hmm.
And it's by Mark Russell and Mike Allred.
Mm-hmm.
Which already is just like, okay, that's enough for me.
Already done.
This is the one that I saw casually on Twitter. I saw the names being mentioned.
Yep.
Yeah. It did. There's not actually like here's a solicit text for it, which is a bit annoying. It's just a vague description based off of from an interview with them. But it talks about going back to the original Crisis on Infinite Earths and taking a Superman, looking at becoming the first superhero of the space age, and part of the story is set around Crisis and learning the world's going to come to an end and nothing he can do to stop it.
Yeah,
I mean,
down for Mark Russell on something like this. I've enjoyed. He did that Luther book during Future State.
Yep.
And then you have Aldred in that pop art style setting. It seems like this is that space age era.
Yes.
So.
And there's some preview pages, and on the last preview page, there's like a version of Batman, and oh man, it's very much like here's a strange take on Batman, but kind of love it.
Is it based off of the original designs that Bob Kane had?
No, although there are elements of that in there, but it's kind of its own unique thing to go in the war that's going on here. It's very pulp. There's a little bit Rocketeer-y.
Done and done.
Yeah. That looks great. This is coming out end of July for the first issue. We'll see in the solicits whether or not they are prestige issues or not. They don't mention it here, but 3-issue mini, it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wouldn't be the first time.